our group was founded on the very principle of playing different folk music styles from different parts of Mexico. And we wanted to show that Mexico has a great diversity of music. Most people are familiar with one or two styles from Mexico, mariachi music, maybe some brass band music. And we want to take a deeper look. Our group was founded 25 years ago. Here's us performing. And in order to play all these styles of music, we needed to amass a large collection of musical instruments. We only brought about 40 today, but here in this picture, there's almost 90 instruments that we used for our recordings. This is the map of Mexico we're going to be referencing throughout the show, and we're going to try and hit 12 different regions of Mexico, 12 different styles, each with its own characteristics. So let us begin our journey. We're going to start our journey in the very center of Mexico. The current capital of Mexico was also the seat of the Aztec Empire, the city of Tenochtitlan. Mexico, in the Nahuatl language, means the navel of the moon, the center of the moon. Okay, and here we have some dancers. This is a contemporary photograph, of course, of people who have carried on this tradition from parent to child, generation to generation, and they keep paying homage to this strong heritage that Mexico has. So we're going to take these instruments that you see on stage, these drums and shakers and even some strings, in music that is still played today in pilgrimages. So let's listen to this. The song is called Xipe. So these instruments that we heard, on that side we had a large drum that was carved on a tree trunk and with an image of a feathered snake in the front. Quetzalcoatl is one of the deities of in the Aztec mythology. On this side we have a grasshopper. This instrument is built from walnut tree and has a hollow space at the bottom and two tongues vibrating over the top, each with a different tone, right? And it's called the teponaztli. And Karen was playing the seeds of a plant sewn around a piece of leather, usually worn around the ankles as the dancers move. And these are called ayoyotes. We're going to see other styles of indigenous music from Mexico. One of the main differences that could be generalized with a lot of indigenous groups is that music is a form of worship. It has a spiritual dimension, and it's done not just for entertainment, as most of our music is, but it's done for finding a connection with the spiritual world, in a sense. And in this song, it's a song of renovation, of rebirth, etc. Very well, so we're going to move to another area of Mexico. We're going to go to the Huasteca region. Okay, well, one of the languages that was imposed by the Aztecs was the Nahuatl language, and it's still spoken today by over 1 million people in Mexico as their first language. Karen is going to sing an a cappella song called Huecanías in this language.
Huecanías, hueca, huecatlani, guanamonicani, chochocatinemis, umpapatica, ni ani te mano migiris, te quisnoya, shivala, shivala, no tlasomsi, no alimansi, yolo, sochi, ompaligua, sericano migiris, te quisnoya, me voy lejos, a lejanas tierras, donde yo pueda llorar mi desventura. Me voy por ti, donde tú no sepas. Sí, corazón, amorcito, ven, consentido, consentido, corazón, flor, aquí lo llevo dentro de mi alma, sí, corazón, Huecanías.
Thank you. Well, we're going to move to the Huasteca region now. And the Huasteca was also within the confines of the Aztec Empire one time. And many people in the Huasteca region also speak Nahuatl. as their first language. So in the Huasteca region, we're going to see a couple of different styles. First, we want to take you to the music of the Nahua. There's three main ethnic groups in the indigenous ethnic groups in the Huasteca region. We have the Nahuas, we have the Tenec, and we have the Totonacas. And we're going to play a little music from the Nahua. This is called as Pulitzon or Música Grande, the big music, because it's played with larger instruments. We have another style that's played with small instruments. So this is called Danza de Moctezuma. And here we see how the dancers would dance to this. Here it is. Before the arrivals of European in Mexico, there were not, at least not many string instruments, or none have survived to the present time that we know of. Mostly the music was made with flutes and percussion instruments. So a lot of these instruments were modeled after European instruments brought during the Renaissance period in Mexico, harps and various types of lutes. What happened is there wasn't enough supply in the Americas, so local people began to build copies of those fiddles, of those harps, of those guitars, and they came in different shapes, with different tunings, and the descendants of those instruments are the ones that have survived, giving different characteristics to different instruments in different parts of Mexico. So those are the instruments we see in the Huasteca region. Now we're going to move to another style from the Huasteca called son Huasteco. We're going to begin to hear that word son. Is a word that derives from the Latin word for sound. Sonus means sound in Latin. And in the old days, they would refer to the regional music from different parts of Mexico as the sound of the Huasteca region, the sound of the hotlands, as son Huasteco, son. And then our group takes its name from that. Sones de Mexico means the sounds of all of Mexico. So we're going to listen to son Huasteco. Son Huasteco is comprised primarily of a fiddle, then a large guitar and a small guitar. And here, the large guitar is Sarbe is going to play it. It's got 8 strings and it's almost a baritone deep sounding guitar. And Rudy is going to play a 5-string higher pitched guitar. In this case, he's going to use a vihuela. And then we'll have a fiddle. And the rest is just cream on top. Hay que buscar las lunas de que vieran los viejos. Hay que hidratar con algunas que no saben dar ni besos. Un ciego estaba escribiendo lo que un mudo le decía, el sordo lo estaba oyendo, a platicar de otro día. La Virgen te dio un manto sobre un nido del placer, y por eso la mujer de este mundo es el encanto. Now the third region we're going to visit is northern Mexico. We call the music from northern Mexico norteño. Norteño is an all-encompassing word, but it actually involves many different musical styles. We have polkas, waltzes, mazurkas, schottisches, etc. A lot of these styles came to Mexico from Central Europe, from the Czech Republic, Poland, Germany, Austria, into southwestern United States and northern Mexico. Those are the people that populated the areas. Also, Volks brought in instruments, brass instruments and accordions, etc., that began to be used in that area. So a lot of people say you can't tell the difference between a Czech polka and a Mexican polka until somebody starts singing. So we're gonna play a little medley. Here's a variety of, even in northern Mexico, we have a lot of variety. In the eastern part, we have ensembles with 2 clarinets and a drum. This kind of ensemble. Then we also, in Sinaloa, in the East Coast, we have full brass bands with all kinds of horns and woodwinds and percussion. Here we have sousaphones and the monophonic ones. There we go, and they're very much involved. You can hear it on the radio, top hits, banda music, still on since the 19th century. Okay, we have several indigenous groups, the Yaqui, and we'll have to play this one for you some other time. But we have the music of the Yaqui. They have similar rattles around the ankles, you can see, and they're all ritual, very much channeling the spirit of animals, etc. We're going to touch on that later. This is the style we're going to play now with accordion, string bass, drums, and guitar. It's called the conjunto norteño style. Okay. So we showed you actually three styles. We have the shottis was the first one, and then we did a little polka two-step. And the last one is called the Huapango Norteño. That's how it's danced. There we go. Okay, now we're gonna travel to the land of mariachi on the west coast of Mexico. Now Jalisco, the state of Jalisco, has always claimed to be the birthplace of mariachi. But there's a fight with all the states around there. It's really, the credit goes to the entire region of western Mexico, and that also includes the states of Michoacán, Colima, and Nayarit. So we're chose to play, rather than play one of the classic mariachi songs for you, we're going to play something you may not have heard as much from the same region. This is from the state of Nayarit, and it's a medley of different dance tunes. They call it jarabe. Jarabes are medleys of songs, different tunes. So this is called Jarabe Nayarita from the state of Nayarit. So in the early days, we know mariachi bands today as being, having those trumpets, right? And that very brassy sound. Actually, trumpets were not added to the mariachi lineup until much later. Originally, mariachi groups were string bands, and believe it or not, they were led by a harp. The harp being the central instrument. Later on, they invented the guitarrón. Much later, the guitarrón and the trumpets were added just as mariachi bands became more urbanized and, with the recording industry, etc. But originally, they were string bands. Now, in the neighboring state, we're looking at this map right here, where you can see the state of Jalisco. Here's my, there it lays for it. Okay, there's the state of Jalisco. This is the Pacific Ocean. Right here, if you've been to Puerto Vallarta, you are like right there at the heart of the cradle of mariachi music, right? And then as you cross the state, the next state is Michoacán, right here. And we're going to have this long river. This is a green thing. It's the Sierra Madre. It's a mountain range, the continuation of the Rocky Mountains. Very difficult to cross around here. So this highlands over here, where the Tepec River flows, this is called as the plains of Michoacán, the Planeco region. And it's just right next to Jalisco. There's a style of music we could call the first cousins of mariachi music. There's a lot of similar instrumentation, 2 fiddles, a harp, a vihuela, which is the instrument that Rudy's actually playing here. And we're gonna play something from this region, okay? We're gonna hear a lot of very high-pitched singing, calling and response. This song is called La Calandria, La Media Calandria. It's a bird. Una calandria amarilla se le cayeron las plumas, las mujeres pagan más, no todas una fortuna. Una calandria amarilla se le cayeron las plumas, las mujeres pagan más, no todas una fortuna. Ay, la la la, ay, la la la, ay, la la la. Una cara triangular se le despegó el peine y no te quieres hablar, te me ha volvido rebelde. Una cara triangular se le despegó el peine y no me quieres hablar, te dejo de tu rebelde. Ay, la la la, ay, la la la, ay, la la la, ay, la la la. Okay, right here, let's go back to our map. Here's some of the groups. By the way, Eric, now he's on crutches today. Little accident. We'll tell you about it later. But he was playing a cajon, this box. Actually, in the region, they would use a harp as a percussion instrument. Somebody would kneel and be playing, and you can see a person right here. Oops, what did I do? Uh-oh. What did I do?
Press the one with the play button on it.
Play button, okay. Well, we're gonna get some help in a minute, but he was usually somebody would kneel and play on the box of the harp, the tapeo. When we get this map back up, we're gonna show you the map of Michoacán. We have that lower area where we have the Planeco region, and then up in the mountains, in the high plains, we're gonna have the Purepecha territory. The Purepecha people are an indigenous group from that area that was never dominated by the Aztecs when they were expanding the territory, nor the Spaniards. They were able to, there we go. Okay, we're back to the beginning. Okay, let's review. Good moment for a review. Okay, Norteño, now we're on the west coast. That's Tepacatepec. There's the groups of Apagales. Okay, so let's get back to our map. Right here, so when we go up to the high plains, this is the button I was trying to get. Okay, the Purepecha plains, Lake Pátzcuaro, Mérida, Uruapan. Their language, which was never forced out, is the Purepecha language. We're going to hear a song in the Purepecha language. The style is called Pirecua. In our culture, when you are courting your wife, you give her a ring, which symbolizes your engagement. In this culture, you write a song to her. And every man must be able to be a songwriter as well. He wants to get there. So this is a Piregua. Okay, so this area on the other side, we see the other river. Let's make sure I don't turn this off. Okay, the Balsas River on this side meets with the Telpacatepec River right here, and they flow together into the Pacific Ocean. So this Balsas area, this basin of the Balsas River is called Tierra Caliente. And the music, the son, the sound of this region is called son calentano. Son calentano. We have a couple of styles. We're going to see now the introduction of this little drum. Oh my God. I am not doing very good with this. Okay, we have this little drum. There he goes. And did you bring yours? No. Okay, we didn't bring ours today. This is the tamborita, and that really, helps to define a lot of the style of music. We're going to use the cajon today for the tamborita. And this is called La Rabia. It's an album. We recorded this on one of our albums. And here it goes. Okay, let's keep moving. Now we're gonna go to the next state over. Anybody know what state is after Michoacan on the Pacific coast? Guerrero. Guerrero. Santa Guerrero. Okay. Guerrero. Okay. These are the purépechas. Okay, Costa Chica. So this area, again, one of our main resorts on that coast is the seaport, Acapulco, right? And then in the center of, many people don't know or won't realize they've been to Acapulco, but it's one of the largest Afro-Mexican populations of Mexico. Most recent migrations of people of African descent to Mexico, not through slavery, through the Atlantic, but more by commerce with South America in the 1840s, late 1840s. You know, there was in California, there was a gold rush going on in the 1840s that brought not only people from the East Coast, but also people from China and all over the world, from South America, from Australia. They all came to populate that part of the United States. And these black people who were freed during independence in the 1820s were traveling off the coast, and they found silver in this part of Mexico. So they settled, and they have now become part of Mexico's population, and they brought their music with them. Because they came from the area of Chile and Peru, we call this music chilenas. Anytime we call them chilenas from that part of Mexico. So one of the dances they brought are called mimetic dances, where the dancers imitate the movements of different animals. We have, let me show you some images of people from this area. Here we have guitar trios, here's some women dancing. Yes. Here's some other musicians. Here's the musicians in the more contemporary Chilena band. And here is, okay. There it is. Okay, so we're gonna play a little mimetic music without the dancer, but if anybody feels like dancing like an iguana, this would be the time to do it. La iguana. the Istmo de Tehuantepec. Isthmus is the thinnest part of Mexico between the Gulf of Mexico and the Pacific Ocean. And it's also the point where the two main mountain ranges that go through Mexico run into each other. In this area, very, very mountainous area of Mexico. So in this area, we have all kinds of music. We have guitar music. We have music with brass bands, right? And there are times when they bring it all together. There's also we begin to see the use of the marimbas, which is this xylophone that we have here on stage. And we're going to play a song now that's very well known from this area. It's based on the legend, a very famous legend in Mexico. And all the kids that have seen the movie Coco are probably familiar with this. It's called La Llorona, the legend of the weeping woman. It is said that this woman committed a hideous crime during her life, and her soul was condemned to live on earth in penance. And at night, when it's very quiet, they hear her voice weeping on the street, weeping for her children. Ay, mis hijos. Okay, we're going to sing a little bit of this song with the help of the marimba today. Now, the lyrics don't always tell the story of the Llorona, or the character, but they always reference death and some love, impossible love for this woman who's said to be beautiful, but then unattainable. And also, a lot of the lyrics are about death. Oh yeah, we're going to start a little introduction also from that general area. This is called La Flor de Piña, the pineapple blossom. sé que tienen las flores, lloronas las flores del campo santo. Yo sé que tienen las flores, lloronas las flores del campo santo. Que cuando las mueve el viento lloronas, parece que están llorando. Que cuando las mueve el viento lloronas, parece que están llorando. Ay, te vi llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Ay, te vi llorona, llorona, llorona de azul celeste. Porque la vida es fuerte, llorona, no dejaré de quererte. Porque la vida es fuerte, llorona, no dejaré de quererte. Okay, this is the traditional dress of the women of Tehuantepec. Oh, and there's the iguana. I put it in the wrong place. That was the dress from Guerrero. That's the guy dancing like an iguana. Okay, so now we move to Chiapas. Chiapas is the last state in Mexico as we move east, and after that is the Guatemala, the country of Guatemala. But in Chiapas is such a large and diverse state. We once did a show just like this, only on the state of Chiapas, just with music. And this map we use for that presentation. Look at all the different ethnic groups. They're all subgroups of the Mayan, the greater like Mayan ethnicity, but they each have their own languages and traditions and dress, etc. So here's some of the traditional dress in woven textiles that you see from this area. This is the Tzotzilles. Again, their music is very intertwined with spiritual practices and religious practices. We have different kinds of harps and guitars. These have steel strings down there, and people are wearing very warm clothing because they live high up in mountains in many areas. But we're going to focus on the marimba, which is also very celebrated in this state. Here's some of the more rustic construction marimbas. Then they introduce the semitones on the second keyboard, and we now can play very sophisticated pieces. This song was written by the Nandayapa family. Seferino Nandayapa is this old man here. He built this marimba that we all hear today. So God rest his soul. He left a legacy even with us here. So we're going to play this song as a composition by them. This is called Feria Chapaneca with Eric Hines and Sandra Chalo. We have two more stops in our journey. We are going to go to the state of Yucatan. This is on that peninsula that sticks out on the southeast part of Mexico, Yucatan. And there's also several styles here. We're going to focus on the jarana style. We're also bringing Karen back out and taking a look. Okay, so Yucatan has also a variety of instruments with strings and horns. We're going to do we're going to do one piece from Garipola. Now, if at any time we stop the music and somebody yells, "Bomba!" It's not a bomb. Please don't run out the door. It's not a terrorist threat. A bomba is a poem that one of the dancers, one of the musicians is about to say, usually a little off color. Say something and then all the musicians, everybody stops to listen what it is. I'm gonna say a bomba, and for those who don't speak Spanish, I will translate. It says, I wish I were one of the shoes on your pretty feet, So once in a while, I could look up and see what you can see. Bomba. Quisiera ser zapatito, que calza tu lindo pie, para de vez en cuando ver lo que el zapatito ve. ¡Bomba! Te quiero, linda mestiza, como el barco al vendaval, aunque ronques por las noches y perfumes mi jacal. ¡Bomba! Bomba. Okay. Well, we finished our journey in the state of Veracruz. So Veracruz is one of the most important commercial seaports in Mexico. It's also just like New Orleans or New York or Amsterdam, one of the great seaports, has had contact with many countries, ships coming in and out, and also very rich musical cultures. So the state of Veracruz has a nickname. The people and things from Veracruz are called jarochos. So the sound from Veracruz is known as son jarocho. Son jarocho. And it has Spanish influences, and indigenous influences, African influences, Caribbean influences. Very rich. We're going to play, here's some of the instruments. You can see the harp, a series of small guitars. Rudy is holding a lead guitar called a guitarra de son, or requinto. He plays that with a segment of a bullhorn. It's a very percussive sound. The harp that Sagbe is playing today is from this area. Now Karen is going to play, I think she just got a crash course on the donkey jaw. That is the jawbone of a donkey, and she's playing it with a deer antler. Right? Victor's playing a jarana as an 8-string strumming guitar. And this song is called El Zapateo, the foot tapping song. This will say goodbye. Thank you. quieras más. Nadie despacho tu trabajo, de mi calle, una cucatera, un salón, te lo dice, y lo quiero tú me dices, me desaparece. Yo soy como mi cadena con el corazón de cerdo, por eso nunca me quiebro y en mi pecho una campana. Y en mi trova campinada como el cantar del tiguero, por eso soy caraneo, camino bien mi garganta, y mi corazón de manda un viento sobre el sombrero.
Thank you very much. Let me introduce the members of the band. Frankfort on the harp. Willie Pignolo on the piece of orchestra. Aaron Martial on the donkey drum. Eric Hines on drums. Victor Puchado on the banana. Music director. My name is Juan Diaz. This is the bass. Yeah, once again. Thank you. Thank you to the library too for having us. You're welcome to come up, and if you have any questions about the instruments, we're happy to show you. Thanks.